Okay, well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I think we'll get started with the program today. First of all, my name is Bob Hogan, and I'm very pleased on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce to welcome you here this evening to our All Candidates Forum. The All Candidates Forum is designed so you get a chance to ask the questions and hear about the platforms of each of the candidates before the election.
Can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have much control over this mic, so is that better? You stand really, really close. That's better. I'm the test subject for all the candidates, so when you get up here, speak closer to the mic. So anyway, the format of the evening tonight, we're going to, well, first of all, a little housekeeping. The washrooms are down the hall and to the right for the ladies, left for the men's. In case of an emergency, the very unlikely possibility of an emergency, and we have to evacuate the building, please evacuate at the doors at the back. And anybody sitting by the door, if you don't understand the process of opening, oh no, that's the there. Oh, this is the there. Anyway, just orderly, egress from the building would be appreciated. I don't anticipate any of that sort of thing happening, so we should be okay. The way we're going to operate this evening, all of the candidates will have a 2-minute opening address. And so each person in turn will take 2 minutes to present their platform. After each candidate has had a chance to present their platform, we'll open it up for questions. When you ask your questions, I would ask that you ask point-form questions, not long political statements. Very, very important. Just ask the question. Get to the point. We have a lot of people to get through, and it's really important that we give everyone the opportunity. One of the things, too, every candidate, even though you may question one specific candidate, we would like to open it up for all the candidates to answer. So if you ask your question of the candidate that you're asking, please bear in mind that each candidate will have an opportunity to respond. And again, the responses will be limited to 1 minute in length. So if everybody in the room had a question, and every one of the questions lasted a minute, and every one of the candidates spoke for a minute on each one of the questions, we wouldn't be out here until the election day. So we won't be able to answer every question, and not everyone will get a question answered. We'll probably cut the questions off at about 8:30, just so we get home sometime this evening. And then at the end of the presentations and the question period, each candidate will have 1 minute to sum up their candidacy or their platform. And then after the council candidates have had a chance, then all of the school trustees will have their opportunity. So, any questions about the format? I'm just kidding. I'm not asking any. You can't ask any questions. That's later. Okay, so I'm pleased to introduce our candidates. Trina Commander, Doug Reagan, David McDonald, Shaylee Grizz, Sue Kenny, Linda Winfield, Trevor Alaby, or is that Alibi?
Alaby.
Raymond Fromm, Duncan Malkinson, and Miles Mortensen and Charlie Farzal, I believe, are not here tonight. Is that correct? They're not in the audience? All right. James Bridges, Terry McFadden, and Cheryl Schumann, all running for council. And then for school trustee, Tamara Zeimer, who I believe is not here as well. Is she in the audience? Oh, you're on there. Okay, great. Excellent. Tamara Zeimer, Dick Powell, and Trina Commander. So those are our candidates. All right, so I'll just draw your attention to Bea over here from Toastmasters. She's our timekeeper, and we'd like to thank Toastmasters and Bea for coming out tonight and helping us out with this event. And just a reminder, if anybody wants to learn how to do public speaking and learn how to be as courageous as all of these candidates are and get up here and face your questions and present their platforms, Toastmasters is a great way to start. And they meet Thursday evenings at 7 o'clock at the Farmers Advocacy Office on 103rd Avenue. So I'd recommend, if you want to get into this game, definitely go to Toastmasters. It's a great education, great way to start. All right, so I think that's everything I need to talk about. Let's see. Time. All right, so it's my pleasure right now to invite Trina Commander to the lecture and to give us her 2-minute opening address. Trina.
Can you hear me? Okay. What makes cities great? It's people. Cities thrive because they host quality conversations. I was inspired by Dawson Creek's social plan and its sustainability report. I studied it, I understand it, and I have the tool set to engage in meaningful consultations, facilitate partnerships to help Dawson Creek attain its goals. I do support special needs and poverty initiatives, affordable housing, and downtown revitalization. We need to continue to bridge community, education, business, and people, retain our green vision, adopt a collaborative model to community planning, respect different points of view, use public funds wisely. Dawson Creek has the potential to be creative, and to that end, revisit the bylaws and regulations around secondary suites and secondary dwellings. It is essential to regularly assess the needs of the community, identify emerging issues, ensure that the city has the capacity to engage across a range of issues. There are countries who are building stronger partnerships between their community, business, education, and people, and also providing true inclusion and acceptance. We can achieve this. Respect, engage, consult, and prioritize. Thank you.
All right, one thing I had remiss mentioning is Chad from New Harvest Media is going to be posting a video of this presentation of this evening on the website. I think it's www.dawsoncreekelection.ca. Is that correct, Chad? It's Chad Anderson of New Harvest Media. Okay, now it's my pleasure to introduce Doug Reagan. So Doug, could you come up to the podium, please?
Thank you for all showing up tonight. A wonderful crowd. To be a candidate for City Council is not something we take lightly. Helping to shape the future direction of the city has far-reaching effects for our grandchildren and future generations. Short-term gains can lead to long-term pain. Decisions made by the city administration must be, I can't read my own writing, but must be studied by City Council and must not be rubber stamped and passed into a bylaw to satisfy the impatience of others. As a carpenter friend said, once quoted, measure twice, cut once. My reason for coming out of retirement to run for council is to offer the citizens of Dawson Creek an approachable, transparent, and diligent alternative. My diverse background of contracting, road building, and railway construction gives me an advantage when viewing contracts to be let by the city. Being a superintendent on large highway contracts has given me the experience for solving disagreements among groups of people. My wife and I chose to make Dawson Creek the place to raise our young family in 1971. The decision to move here has served us well, so I would be more than happy to work for the hometown and keep it an attractive place to raise a family. Although there's a few flaws in City Council has operated in the past, they are not insurmountable. With due diligence and focus. Good grief.
Thanks, Doug. Sorry about the buzzer. It's an inevitable thing. So, for the candidates, just keep an eye on the timer staple over here, because there are the warning lights that come up. Okay, now it's my pleasure to welcome David McDonald.
Thank you very much for coming out tonight. You know, we're taking this chance to get everybody together to try and get some of our platforms out there. I've been in this community now for 3 years. I've seen some things in council, some decisions were made about certain projects that we have in the city already. Now, anything we have in this city should be working for us. I'm here to try and bring some accountability and hopefully some cost benefit to whatever we're going to be doing. Whether it's green initiatives, we're going to do them. Let's start out with the cheapest things possible. I mean, LED lights are inexpensive. All of us, when we want to save energy in our house, first thing we do is switch out lights. There's a lot of things that we can do that aren't going to cost us big bucks to help save our environment. When it comes down to housing, we need to make sure as a council that we have bylaws in place that are going to support diversified housing for everybody. Now, what those are, I can't tell you right now, but it's something I would like to work with the council members to try and come up with solutions. There are other communities that have been through this. I would be willing to work with council to try and reach out and find some solutions. Another big problem is when we have projects that are going to be earmarked for the benefit of our community, we need to make sure that they come in at the proposed budgets that they were set. I mean, this has got to be a place that where if we're going to invest in stuff, we need to have a return on it. Otherwise, where is it going to be in 10 years, 20 years? Where's the sustainability for it when the money dries up? If we're going to be getting things from the government like fair share, I believe we should advocate to try and get more and keep it going as long as we can. But I don't feel that we should plan to have something that could, at the whim of whoever's in power out there, be taken away from us. And that would leave us where? That's all I have to say right now. Thank you very much for coming out tonight and listening.
Thank you, David. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Shaylee. So can you come on up, please?
The walk is getting longer. Good evening. It's nice to see all of you here. I'm the mother of 5, Nana to 3, and if you'd like to know more about me, I'd happily talk to you after the forum, but for now, let's talk community and let's get to work. We do not have a revenue issue, we have a spending issue. It reminds me of when my granddaughter tore the keys off my laptop, and I asked her, and not like this, but what did you do that for? She said, Nana, your ABCs are in the wrong order, and she had placed them in order on the floor. This reminds me of what's happening in Dawson Creek. It's not that we don't have the pieces or the ABCs, we do. Some of them are in the wrong order. For example, using fair share for operation. When I say we need to look at our foundation, I'm talking about our core services, fire department, RCMP, public works, and airport. Our infrastructure, water, sewer, and roads. These are attributes in our community that should be taken care of, maintained, and improved upon. Our airport is no different than the roads leading to Dawson Creek. It is a core service. It is past time to maintain it and improve it. Stop taking away its resources, look after it, and protect it. We need a new water source, which is more than storage for a population count of today. Our watershed is in the heart of exploration and production. And I believe with partnerships, we can have a new pipeline for water. If we can recycle it coming out of one end, we can find a new source for the other. It all comes down to dialogue and being persistent about our needs. It can be accomplished. We just need the right people in place to do it. The first choice should always be to support local. You cannot expect your local businesses to employ local people, pay taxes, and support a community that does not support them, and our city should be a leader in this concept. With the construction boom, there's been a rise in living costs for our seniors and fixed income families. They're struggling. We should know what their needs are, and we should give this information to potential developers. We must be responsible with our environment. I'm good too, Doug.
Thanks, Shelley. Now it's my pleasure to invite Grizz. Come on up.
Thank you, sir.
Or come on down.
I think most people know who I am or know a little bit about me, and I'd like to just expand on that a little bit. You can always go to Facebook. One of the things that I like about today is the technology that's out there lets us candidates actually get out and speak to our voters, even when we can't physically get out to speak to you. So I'd encourage you to check out the social media that's going on right now, because a lot of the campaigns are actually kind of happening in there too. I'd welcome you to come over to the Facebook page and check that out. There's a little bit of a write-up on that I've written myself, which I was fairly proud of. I only had to ask my teacher wife a couple times how to spell my name. And it actually looks pretty good. About me, I've been in town in Dawson Creek now for, I believe, 10 years. I used to work for Astro Media, and now I am also in the contracting business. I'm working for Brian Carrier now as a second-year apprentice plumber, gas fitter. And I am busy, so I won't be taking any jobs tonight for plumbing or gas fitting. If you'd like to vote for me for council, that would be fantastic. In terms of my platform, I have a young family in town here. Dawson Creek as a community has been a place that I love living, and I want to continue to live here. And I thought that it was about time that I decided to step up and to try to make some things happen in town that I would like to see happen. I'm a fairly progressive guy. I like to see new things happening in town. I'd like to see a new library. I like the Encana Event Center. These are kind of the things that I like to see that bring value to Dawson Creek. They have a price tag, but as a young family moving into town, where would you like to live? Fort St. John or Dawson Creek? To me, the amenities are here, and this is where I would like to be, and I would like to help to keep things moving forward, because we are going to boom, and the population of Dawson Creek is going to continue to grow, so we should be taking advantage of that and making our plans for it. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Now it's my pleasure to welcome Sue Kenny to the lecture.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Everybody here has very good points, and we're going to hear a lot more as the night goes on. I've lived in Dawson Creek for the last 10 years. I've lived in the north pretty well all my married life, which is going to be 40 years next year. My husband is in the back somewhere there. Come here to support me. I made him do it. Anyway, I've been working in economic development for the last 25 years. And I've been working with communities, and the question that we hear is how our city is run, and it speaks to our city staff and to our present council. And working in the business, a municipal employee for 10 years when I worked with the District of Tumbler Ridge. And listening to my peers through Community Futures, which I've been with that organization for 10 years. And I have to tell you that we do live in a great city, a very organized city. When people talk about what's going on in their cities and what's going on with their councils, a lot of communities are frustrated, as we all have our frustrations. They're frustrated with the way things are going. Well, I have to tell you, I'm a novice. I've only been in it for 3 years. I see some people here that were in council a whole lot longer than that, and they understand the challenges. And challenges there are. You want to keep everybody happy, and you want to make wise decisions. And I have to tell you that I love Dawson Creek. My husband and I, we've got a home here. We pay taxes, and we plan on retiring in Dawson Creek. And so my interest is to make sure that this is the best city to live in. And I will work hard over the next 3 years if you choose to vote for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sue. And our next speaker is Linda Winfield. Come on down, Linda. Yeah, that walk is getting longer, isn't it?
Good evening. I'm new to you, but with politics that we have in our hand, we have to choose wisely. One thing that I know is that being new in the community is not easy. And I'm going to be very, very honest. From the bottom of my heart, I'm going to speak what I have to say. My platform, if you have them, please check it out. People first. I was 18 years old. I'm just gonna give you some background. I was 18 years old when I ran for the first time in the history of my community in the Philippines. I was the youngest, the most, they said, unknowledgeable, but I got in because I speak for people. This is me. People first. I'm not going to promise anything. I'm going to give you my profile now. By the way, the reason I get out of the Philippines is because Marcoses will shoot me. When my son asked me, "Are you nervous, mother?" I said, "No, they're not going to kill me there. I'm in Canada. It's free. Freedom," I said to him. He said, "I am." He said he's nervous than me. But however, let's put it this way. I'm Linda Winfield. I'm a support worker for 15 years for the community living. I founded the Philippine Canadian Association here in Dawson Creek. I landed in Canada when I was 25 years old. Thank you very much. Vote for me.
Thank you, Linda. Wow, I think that's 3 buzzers. That's a new record. My next speaker is Trevor Albee.
I would hold it, but it'll slip out of my hand. So my name is Trevor Albee. I have a degree in psychology. I currently manage for Domino's. At one point in time, I worked for the Canadian Security Intelligence Service.
Can't hear you all. Can't hear you all.
Not at 45, I have time. Hi, my name is Trevor. I have a degree in psychology, and I currently manage for Domino's. Previously, I worked for...
Can't hear you.
There you go. Previously, I worked for CSIS. No, I also worked for the United Nations.
Let's start over.
Bob, do the control back there by Mr. Shields on the wall. He can turn it up or turn it down.
Is this working now?
Yeah.
Okay, ready. Wait, timer, Trevor.
Hi, my name is Trevor Albee. I have a degree in psychology, and I currently manage the Domino's. Previously, I worked for the Canadian Security and Intelligence Service and the United Nations as a document specialist. I have lived in Dawson Creek for 6 years and hope to purchase a house in Saldanha. The only issue is the fiscal management by the current council and City Hall. At this time, council spends too much of our money on large capital projects and green initiatives that benefit City Hall. We have plenty of community venues that attract young families. We are, however, missing a working and maintained infrastructure along with low property taxes. We have to start by reducing the expense accounts of council. This includes lowering the per diem rate, the amount that can be claimed from staying at a hotel, and the current travel allowance. We also need to work at utilizing our fair share money properly. I would see a portion placed into infrastructure and the rest into an economic development reserve. I love the idea of always having fair share, but we need to remain practical. Council has no bargaining power to extend fair share past 2020. We can ask, but should work to eliminate our dependence upon it. My name is Trevor Albee. I'm motivated, educated, and dedicated to Dawson Creek. I plan on striving towards the greatness within Dawson Creek that we can all enjoy through fiscal responsibility and a balanced budget. Thank you.
Thanks, Trevor. Our next speaker is Raymond Fromm. Come on down.
It works. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, the Chamber, for hosting this event. Why am I running for this position? I like Dawson Creek. Dawson Creek is a great place to live and to work. I want to help to maintain and guide the city to quality of life and to opportunities to work as well. How do I do this? Throughout my working life, I've been holding leading positions. I have learned a lot of life experiences. I have learned to be accountable. I have learned to be responsible. I know what it means to listen. I know what it means to recognize opportunities. I know what it means to plan. So I'm able to apply good judgment and common sense because I have learned a lot in my life and hence come up with some reasonable, fair, balanced results. Issues I see for the city. keep our tax rates under control by prudent financial management, secure sufficient water supply for the city, no more sale of drinking water, those times are gone. Another issue is our roads, our sewer systems, our sidewalks, our bridges, our culverts. After the heavy rains we had last summer, weak spots were revealed, so we need to stay on top of those things. Kelvin Cook Center will be completed and used to its best capability. And I need to talk about a better rapport in the communication with the regional district, because 2 years ago there was a gas well drilled between the Paradise subdivision and the airport, which is a mile and a half from town, rather close. And depending on the H2S level, the emergency response zone will likely reach into town. This is actually a no-no. Like the companies, we want to welcome them, we will work with them, but they have to respect our health and our safety. We will not turn Dawson Creek into a conflict. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Duncan Malkinson.
You can all hear me back there? That's good. Hi, I'm Duncan Malkinson. It's nice to meet all of you. It's good to see a great group of people interested in the welfare of the community. I think that I could bring a lot to City Council. I could bring a new perspective on old issues. I'd be willing to listen and take regular input from members of the community and come to the best decisions that respect the citizens of the community. What I want to keep in the forefront of my mind in the next 3 years is managing the city's debt and focusing on water, sewer, and road improvements. That seems to be a big concern to people as I go door to door. I think Dawson Creek's a beautiful place. I hope to bring a good attitude and positive state of mind to the city, and I look forward to working with all of you to do that. Thank you.
James Bridges' turn. Come on, James.
First of all, I'd like to thank Tara and the Chamber for putting this together tonight. We've heard a lot, being at the end of the line almost. We've heard a lot of things already been said. So I would like to just kind of give you a background of who I am and what I have done in my life. In 1972, I made a decision to make a priority of my life to serve people. And I went into the ministry. And in 1979, I started pastoring a church, and during that time I served on provincial boards and also international boards that dealt with people's lives. And 1994, during the Harcourt administration, I worked on a panel that hired at-risk youth that were 18 to 25, and they were putting them into a program called Blade Runners. And it was a great program to be able to help our youth to come out of their circumstances and to be able to put them into the workforce as an apprentice program. I'm also a pipe fitter by trade. I finished my apprenticeship in '72 and have worked in that trade for many, many years. And also in Nanaimo, as I was pastoring there, I was asked to help create a mentorship for the Brandon Lake Prison. And it was to be able to help those prisoners to be able to assimilate back into society. And I've been here in Dawson Creek since 2001, September 2001, just before the 9/11. And we love Dawson Creek. I came to Dawson Creek the first time in 1982 and in March, and my wife and I fell in love with Dawson Creek.
So I think we're setting some kind of record for buzzers today. So next speaker is Karen McFadden.
Thank you, Bob. Good evening, candidates, and ladies and gentlemen. I want to first thank you for giving me the opportunity to have been
member of your council for the past 3 years. It's been exciting. We've had some good times and some not so good times. But you know, what's happening over the past 3 years is Dawson Creek is undergoing just a phenomenal change in development, in construction, in new businesses. All you have to do is drive down 8th Street now, or Alaska Highway, pretty much any time of the night or day, and you think you're on the Low-Heat Highway or the 401 somewhere. So what I think we need for council going forward is people that can sort of rise above all this chaos that's happening around us and sort of keep an even keel and even steady and even hand on things. Some of the things that I've been involved in over the past 3 years that have helped to mitigate and control all of this growth is a sewer master plan. We're just putting into place now a master sewer plan that will look at every piece of sewer line we have in the city, how old it is, when it was built, what it cost to build it, and how long we think it can last, and when it'll have to be replaced. We're looking at the airport plan. The airport plan probably should have been done about 15 years ago, but it wasn't. We'll see what happens with that. I've been an advocate of the reclaimed water plant. A lot of folks think that's just sewer water, or words to that effect, but it will save 27% of our potable water that's going out to fracking. So these are some of the things we have to put together so we don't again get caught up in the irrational exuberance of all this money that's coming in and start building more edifices, I'll call them. They're just money pits. Is that red light a bad thing? Thank you very much. I look forward to your support. Stuart, I want you to go there working for me.
And now, Cheryl Schumann, come on down.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow candidates. I'd like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for providing this forum tonight. Over the past 3 years on council, I've learned a lot about how municipal government operates. I will use that knowledge and experience to work at moving this community forward in a positive, progressive way. We need to continue to build a resilient community with a diverse local economy that will stand strong into the future. We need to build a livable and inclusive community that makes an effort not to leave anyone behind. We need to continue to provide opportunities for our citizens to participate in arts and culture as well as recreational activities. I will make sure, as I have done over the past 3 years, to spend the time listening to the community's needs. I am committed to making decisions based on what is best for the community as a whole, and I will continue to insist on transparency in all that we do. Dawson Creek is a growing community. We are seeing millions of dollars worth of development here every year, and if ever there was a time to get something done, it is now. Our airport and our library will need some attention in the coming years, and I will continue to support investment into our water, sewer, roads, sidewalks, and upkeep of our facilities. I am committed to working towards carbon neutrality under the Climate Action Charter and moving Dawson Creek towards energy efficiency and energy self-efficiency. I'm committed to working hard for you. I will listen to your needs. I will participate in a meaningful way so that I can make informed decisions that will continue to make Dawson Creek a great place to live. On November 19th, vote Schumann for City Council. Thank you.
Okay, so this now brings us to our question period time. So I'd just like to, all the people here are courageous people who think that their ideas will benefit all of us, and they deserve our respect. And so please, let's keep that in mind when we ask our questions. So the format for questions, you get basically the format is 1 minute to ask your question, so you have to keep your question within a minute time frame. It'll be timed and you'll be buzzed. You don't want to be buzzed. Nobody wants to be buzzed, although these guys seem to. And each candidate will have 1 minute to answer the question. So who has the question? Any questions? There's one. Dawn.
See it?
Okay.
Many environmental concerns face the world today. What role should municipal governments play in addressing those environmental concerns? Anybody?
Excellent. So we'll start. Should we start with the order of speakers? So Trina, you can tackle the side up.
I support the green projects and initiatives. They are being implemented all over the globe, as we know, and in every municipality. It is the current social and environmental trend to be more energy conscious and to take better care of our communities and health and future sustainability. So all a person needs to do is just look around and see what's happening around the world and see what we can bring to Dawson Creek to make our city more green friendly. Thank you.
Excellent. So Doug, do you have an answer for her?
Not really. I'm not an expert on this environment. I'm an expert on this.
Okay, just down the line.
Excuse
Take
me.
your turn.
Can you pass the mic down a bit?
I actually can't because it's taped to the floor here. So unfortunately, we just have to have people speak really loud.
Could they stand up?
Yeah, stand up and speak. It's actually taped to the floor, so yeah, just stand up. Yeah.
Objection. As municipal leaders, as municipalities, as any government, we should be setting the tone for our residents to follow, as well as our businesses. If we're going to take initiative from swapping out homes to solar power to anything else, they have to be fiscally responsible and provide some sort of return as a cost benefit. If we're just throwing money out there to make us part of this fad, we don't need to be doing that. We need to be looking at long-term planning, whether that is seriously switching out all of the traffic lights for LED lights, really cost-effective. Already done? Good. We could look at different forms of public transportation. How could we use biofuel? What are some of the cheaper alternatives that we can use that are going to see a return right away, not long-term, and not something that's just for City Hall, something for all of us. The city, the municipality, the government needs to pioneer that and set an example that we can all follow.
I travel around the world and I see a lot of these issues. Our issues here is we have to start from our own core at home. When we did this, all of us together can make a difference in the municipalities. I travel Egypt, Cairo, and I see this. I went to their meetings, and it's an issue globally. As part of the global community, we have, I would say again, we have responsibility as part of this world that we're living in. We are only one world. And one thing that I've seen, Europe, Middle East, I traveled. And it is sad to say that this issue is not just local. But what are we going to do with these issues as a municipality, as a city in motion? There is a lot of activity. I've always thought, I don't know why I love to talk. And we'll make it.
Okay, next person. Yes, you can.
So we have to be responsible with our environment. This doesn't mean collecting trophies. It means educate and encourage. As a good friend said to me, and he's here, he's a smart man. It's nice that City Hall gets renovated to be less expensive to maintain and operate. The city likes to collect awards for being green, but it is not the city. It is City Hall that is green, and council should never get in the way of people or business who want to improve things. Council needs to be enablers, not obstacles. We need to enable DC taxpayers to become more energy self-efficient.
You can go ahead of me. I'll just cherry pick your ideas. You go right ahead.
I stand behind all the trophies that the city of Dawson Creek has been honored with over the years. The city, I believe, is, as councillors, we are to be leaders for our communities, and we're supposed to lead with example. And we led with example with the initiatives that we are doing within our city. The solar panels on City Hall save our tax dollars because it brings down our utility bills. So it is helping our community by using energy efficiencies for our city buildings. I don't know about you, but I like to be able to turn my tap on and get a nice, fresh, clean glass of water out of that tap. And so I believe we're responsible to take care of our water. And the city has done this through negotiating with industry to build that treatment plant in order to recycle the water so that our potable water is not being used. This is for the benefit of all the taxpayers.
Environment starts at home. Environmentalism starts at home. It starts with you educating your kids, turn off the lights, as my dad used to tell me all the time, I'm not made of money. Close the door. Do all of these basic things. Personally, I love the fact that Dawson Creek is an environmental leader. I think that it's fantastic that we are held up to not only the province, but to Canada and the world with the awards that we've won. I have absolutely no problem whatsoever having solar panels all over City Hall, because then every time you're driving by there, that's one thing that you're going to be thinking about that's environmentally friendly. That's one way that we can make things better. It starts at the house, though, and it starts with everybody doing it. Council can only provide so much leadership and create so many opportunities for people to take advantage, which they've done in the past with the rain recovery barrels that were set up. There's a lot of programs that Council's doing. Can we do more? Absolutely we can, and it's something that's important because, you know what, we all live in our environment. It'd be very uncomfortable in here if we all lost our oxygen for the next 30 or 40 seconds.
I'm good.
I do agree with Chris. Environmental consciousness starts at home, definitely. The city has bylaws too for idling, but especially in the winter time, even in summertime I see cars idling for air conditioning. In the winter time, almost 2/3 of the cars are idling. I don't know why this bylaw is not enforced. We have green spaces, we want to maintain them, we want to improve green spaces. Why has the multiplex no solar system on their roof? Another question. On the other hand, we have to be a little critical too if it comes to financing, because not all green projects are viable.
You okay?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, James, you have any comment?
Well, I think we need to be responsible citizens, and as others have said, it needs to start at home. And if we depend on the city to do this, it's going to run us into a deficit. We need to be very responsible on our own accord and make sure that we are able to turn our lights off and get the better lighting, kick our grandkids out of the shower so that they're not in there for an hour at a time, and just be responsible people.
But
you're next, Eric.
It's got nothing to do with trophies. Over the past couple of 3 years, I think we've picked up about $300,000 in grants from people like BC Hydro and the government for the green initiatives that we're doing here in Dawson Creek. And whether you like it or not, Dawson Creek is recognized in the province as one of the leaders of the green initiative. It's a fact of life. And we picked up $300,000 doing it. And the rest What? Thank you.
So, these things are not just the things that we do. They're not to win trophies. We're interested in building a healthier community, a community where it costs less to, heat our buildings and power our buildings, and becoming energy efficient in our facility. It's saving us money, and it's reducing our emissions, and we're doing these things in order to be leaders, and we hope that everyone sees that and puts some stuff to use in their own homes. Thank you.
So any more questions for our candidates? Yes, right here.
I was just wondering, you guys are environmentally friendly. Am I right that you guys are still selling fresh water to the oil sands? City water?
That's correct.
That's really environmental friendly.
It's also business friendly.
So is that a question? So what's your question?
I was just asking if they were still selling.
Oh, I see. So that question is
yes. The answer is yes.
Yes, sure. You have a comment on that?
Yeah. So several years ago, the city recognized that we were selling more and more of our potable water to industry. We also recognize that we need to support industry in our community. We're all benefiting from what's happening in our region. And so that's where we came up with the idea of using the wastewater to sell to industry. And this is a solution where we can still support industry, but at the same time reduce industry's use of our very important potable water.
Any other candidate want to take on that question, or I guess that's good. Back at the very back there.
The use of this water, you're reusing water that were used as sewer, right? But it was a floodplain base. It's not a floodplain base anymore. That's an infrastructure.
So you're asking about, is the floodplain base going to be closed because of this?
Permanently, or is it going to be reopened?
Oh, I have no idea. It had to be closed because they needed 1,000 feet to do the Sager cells. Whether it's ever recommissioned, I have absolutely no idea. There was only one person that was using it on a regular basis, maybe two, and now it's only 4,000 feet. I'm not a pilot, but I don't know if you can land a plane on 4,000 feet. I don't know. I was in Vancouver and I watched some landless float planes coming into the inner harbor. They do it in pretty short. But I think 4,000 feet in that configuration is problematic. I don't know. So I don't know if it'll ever be open or not. Don't know.
So any other candidate want to take on the floatplane issue? Yes, Sue?
I believe, I can't remember everything, but I do believe that there is a possibility that it would be reopened, and that there was differences with the temperature of landing, and so it would depend on times of day. So there is an issue, there, but also when it was all being examined, we really had to look at our water situation, and we had to look at the usage of how many people were using that at the time. And when we weighed them, the water was more important.
This is not really so much a question for anyone in particular. It's just it's about healthcare, local healthcare, and I'm wondering if any of the candidates, either tonight, later, or should you get elected, or before you get elected, if you could contact me. I represent a group that we're interested in talking about the problems that exist in Dawson Creek with healthcare. And it is a viable concern, and I have some information, and I would certainly like to talk to anybody that's interested, either later tonight, or I can give you my phone number.
What's your number?
782-3261. Now that number is for hospice palliative care, which I work for, but that's the number I will give you.
What's your name, ma'am?
Linda Lindbergh. And I have some real concerns from a lot of people in the community, and I'm in the process of trying to get together a meeting of interested people. But I wasn't planning on doing this tonight, but I thought, what the heck. And Cheryl said healthier communities. Well, health starts with health care. And I realize there's a lot of other city problems that you've all brought up. But health care is very important to me, and if we don't have good health care,
anybody want to comment on healthcare from the candidates?
What you should do after the election, come into council as a delegation and present your case, and the media is there and get some coverage that way. And then we can, probably all we could do, or probably all the new council can do, sorry, is write a letter of support of whatever you're saying.
well, even just the fact that you would listen to
Yes,
this, and we can come up with some other ideas.
Yeah, so what you should do is come in after the election, get on this docket as a delegation, present your case, and ask for the council to send a letter of support to whomever.
Okay.
They'd be happy to do it, I'm
If
sure.
anyone does want to call me, please feel free to, because I can discuss it at greater length.
Okay, we have another question right down here, sir.
Yeah, I'd like to put this question to Cheryl. You're talking about industry, we have to supply the water, and all year long, Dawson Creek people complain. Soon springtime, we get a letter, your water is cut off, you're only on odd days, different days. The people are great for supporting the industry. What about people are dissatisfied with that? And the big trucks are pulling in thousands of gallons, just don't seem to care.
Actually,
So is there a question? Why the water? Why was it okay.
All this money you save, you certainly don't cut the taxes.
So, City Council, our council, absolutely does care about how people feel with regards to their water use. The conservation measures that we put in that come into effect every year at end of May, beginning of May, it's more about education and making sure that the peak watering times aren't all at the same time. It's just a way to sort of spread out our water use throughout the week. We all don't need to water our lawns on Saturday afternoon, and that's what was happening. So we were ending up with great big peak times of use. So the water conservation bylaw sets it out so that people are all watering their lawns at different times and their gardens and their flowers and things like that. And so then as we go through and the water is drying up in the river and our water is running down and then we go to the next stage where you have to water by hand, and then, you know, a couple years ago we had stage 4 and you couldn't water at all. You know, industry would shut off at that point also.
The truck will be pulling in though, doesn't matter.
Not at stage 4.
Okay, so anyone else want to speak to that question? Shannon?
I'd like to speak to Linda.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Didn't get a chance.
Oh, okay.
Belinda, I would love to speak to you sometime. My concern, or what I recognize, is that Cassie serves the city of Dawson Creek and cannot go past its boundaries. The health nurses can go as far as the outskirts of Poos, and so that area around Dawson Creek. But there is no one to serve our seniors past those areas unless they can afford to pay a public nurse to go out to visit them. And I understand that there's not enough facilities or home environments for those who are ailing in the last stages of their life. And I would like to see a partnership with the city and the regional district to maybe bring about Cassie being able to go into the rural areas and to help serve our seniors that are presently not being taken care of. And so whatever else I'm able to help you with, I would love to speak to you. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry about that. I didn't realize you wanted to make a comment about that, so my fault. So anybody else want to speak to the healthcare part or the industry support with water, versus water? Okay, hearing none. I have a few written-in questions. So it seems like water is our theme today. So here's a written-in question, came by email today. Considering the growth that Dawson Creek is experiencing and that this growth is expected to continue, and considering the limited resource we have from the large but precarious Kiskatna watershed, would you support accessing water from a larger source, less likely to be contaminated by exploration, production, or agricultural activities, such as the Pine or the Peace River? So we'll just ask the candidates in turn about that question. So, okay, considering the growth that Dawson Creek is experiencing, and all of our water comes from the Kiskatna watershed, would you support drawing water from another source such as the Pine or the Peace River? So, and I think what I'll do is hand the microphone, because I've freed it from its, hopefully it'll reach all the way down.
I can't say yes or no to that question right now, Doug, because I think, Doug, right? No, Bob. Bob, sorry, Bob. Stephanie. Because that would be a project that would need a feasibility report done first. So the first thing that would have to be done is for us to actually investigate what are the options, if it can be done, because we have different water levels at different times of the year, and every year is different. Like this year we had the floods, and 10 years ago we had floods. And we've had dry spells where the river was bone dry. So feasibility report would have to be done first before I could say yes or no.
Doug, would you like to speak to that question?
There's already been a number of studies done. There's potential lines out to the Pine, also potential lines to the Peace, and the numbers I've seen is about $25 million to put a pipeline to either one. It's within just a couple $100,000 difference. I read that from the city's own literature, like their studies, and apparently there is a plan that if there was a plan that if we needed more water, we would probably do that. Now we need more water. They've got to start thinking of these options, and there's a couple other options too that they can go to. But we can't depend on the Cascatna to supply half the oil field and all of Dawson Creek.
That's a pretty touchy question. I mean, it's something that we got to look at. Without water, we're not going to do very well. We can go longer without food. So I mean, if we are already looking at shortages, we do, and we've already paid for these studies, we should start using that data and start looking at options to make sure that we can water and supply the basic life-giving elements to any future sustainable community we're going to have here. Because without that, I mean, there's not going to be the business that we're supplying water to. There's not going to be people. So I mean, yeah, it's something that we should look at. If we, like Doug says, invested money in the studies, we should relook at those studies and start making a plan to address what water we are going to need for now and for at least double our population going into the future.
So if I just pass it on to
I only did that to him because I talk with my hands too. I actually touched on this right before I got buzzed. And Doug's right, it is about $25 million. It probably could be a bit more since the feasibility study was done. But with the large companies that are here that are actually in the heart of our watershed, you divide that by 5 or 6, it gets pretty cheap for them. So I think if we talk to them right with the right people, we can have a new water line. We need a new water line, and it's not one of those issues that we can say, oh, it's getting late, we better look at it. We need to worry about it right now.
Absolutely. If the studies have already been done, we should be taking advantage of the data that we have, and we should be exploiting it as soon as possible, because as anybody knows who's had any work done on their house, it gets more expensive the longer you leave it. It never gets cheaper to do this kind of stuff. So what we should do is take a look at those, and I would love to see those. I haven't seen those. Part of the reason I'm running is to get involved in this kind of thing and help make some decisions here. So I think that would definitely be something to look forward to. I love the ideas of doing the partnerships with the companies that are taking our water. I don't want to say exploiting it, because they're using it for what they need to use it for, and we are getting fair market price for it. However, I have to say, I'm not a fellow who waters his lawn an awful lot. So again, that comes back to ecology being what you do at home, and I think that we do have to address these shortages sooner than better.
I'm really glad that everybody's all for that report.
I'm really glad that everybody's on with the report, because that's why it was done, and that's why we approached industry about the reclamation plant, and that's why we're working on that. And Shell put $9 million towards that. That's going to provide us with more water. And also the other option that in that study is a reservoir that would have a year's supply, I believe, of water in the event of drought. We do have a watershed that depletes really fast. Like all of you, when we had that rain in June, and that golf course was flooded on Saturday, and then people were golfing on the Monday. Like that's how fast that the ground absorbs that water, and so water is an issue, and one that council's been working really hard at, and that has been one of the biggest priorities in the last 2 years.
Water, source of all living things on earth. We have planned already, it's already on the process. So, with me, as a candidate, I would like to be involved, informed. Most of all, I would like the citizen to put their input into it. You are the key of all this. We are the citizens of this city, the city in motion. Water, water, water. I'm glad that we have clean drinking water, but some are expensive, some are not. $1.25, $1.89, but the city is already doing their process. I am not gonna depend anybody here, but the city is doing tremendous things. It's not easy to deal with people, especially from the United States. Thank you.
works this time. I just think that we should have industry supplying their own water. They can build a pipeline, they have billions of dollars. It keeps the taxpayer happy, and then it puts some commitment from the industry back into the community.
We heard all the comments there. I will cut it short. Yes, we need to look at it ASAP. No hesitation. Whether we do the right thing or not will have to be very, very scrutinized, and we have to be logical on our water supply.
I look forward to working with you on all this as well.
The question was, are you in support? Absolutely. The studies have been done, and we need to move forward. It's just a little bit more complicated than running a pipeline to the Peace or to the Murray. The provincial government has mandated that any new sources of water, 50% of it must come from conservation. Right now we have a permit to take 2 million gallons or liters a day out of the Kiskatna. A day? Yeah. If we went for more, said we want to build a pipeline to the Peace or the Murray, the first thing they would say is, well, what have you done for conservation? Well, now we can say we have a water reclamation plant, and we've just changed around the water rates. Thought somebody would throw something at me. Also, the water that comes out of the Kiskatna is very turbid. It's just dirty, muddy stuff. The water that comes out of the Murray and the Peace is clearer, but it's full of minerals, heavy metals. Thank you, Cheryl. That requires a new and different type of plant, which is a lot of money. It costs about $1 million a year just for lift stations to get it from there to here also. So 25 is just a drop in the bucket. Sorry.
So council has been looking at this issue, past councils for many, many, many years. Basically, we have to just get out there, make a decision, and get something done. Whether it be a pipeline, whether it be a new reservoir, it's just a matter of getting the money and getting it done. That's what it's all about.
What I'm going to be really happy about is when they finally invent a wireless microphone. Oh, did they really? Oh. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Okay, this sort of relates to the water, to the industry, and fair share. First of all this water, we're not getting value for this, people. When the industry uses the water, it's gone forever. It's totally destroyed. We can't ever use it. We can't reclaim it. The second thing of all is that this region we put about 50% or more of the resource revenues into provincial coffers. Well, that leads to the fair share. And the fair share needs to be a long-term thing, because in 10 years or so, all this industry is going to be gone. So your role, what is your role as the council now to put pressure on the government, our local MLA, for example, who's been a past mayor? What's your role in setting this up now so that in 2020, when this needs to be renegotiated with the government, what do you guys think that you should be doing now to lay that groundwork?
So this is a question about fair share. Who wants to tackle this one? Should we just do it in a row and landing? Trinity, do you have anything to say as I pass this down the line?
Or do you want me to go first?
You can. You're right here.
Well, I'm either the one that gets it just right or I'm a little off. So, fair share. I'll speak about fair share. To me, fair share is for infrastructure. It's not for anything else. The reason we have it is to help build our community, which implies the way the city is built, taking care of our people and the services. So to that end, the current contract is still 2020. I would like to see Dawson Creek actually go back to the province and renegotiate it for at least another 25 to 30 years, because we will be giving, we are the sweetheart of BC economically, and we will be for at least another 25 to 30 years, and I believe that we should still be getting our fair share, and that it should go back into infrastructure. And by then, we should be a bigger city, and maybe be more self-sustaining, and by then the province may say, hey, I don't want to share anymore, but by then, we'll be bigger. That's what I have to say.
I'd like to direct my response to all the other fair-haired people in this crowd. We're all in the same age group. And one of our biggest concerns is, what about our grandchildren? We've seen the share of the amount of money paid for our debts rise from 18% to about 36%. If this carries on, our grandchildren, they're going to be paying half of everything that they pay in taxes. It's going to go pay bills. So, fair share. Let's get that debt load down so we don't tie a millstone around the necks of our grandchildren. That's my take on it.
I think the best thing that we could do to continue to be able to lobby government for this fair share to be continued past 2012 is prove to them that we're going to invest it wisely in long-term infrastructure for our community. So when we go to them and they say, hey, Dawson Creek, what did you spend this on? They're not just going to see a debt load. They're not going to see any negative from it. We want to make sure we're the responsible community that is going to put that money to good use for the community. Not just for industries, not just for the people, but for everybody that has to work and live here. And that's something that if we don't do, how can we go and ask for more of it after 2020?
Sure glad you took the tape off that. Fair share, it's one of those catch-22 things. My understanding is it was really intended to be used by northern communities. So it's not just us. It's Fort St. John, it's Chetwynd, it's Tumbler Ridge, it's Hope. Did I miss anyone? Dawson Creek, that's all of us. So we need to have a strong dialogue with our neighbors so that we go as a group to the government. We do need to renegotiate this. We need to get something that's a long-term plan with the province. We do not always control who's going to be the next government. I'm hoping it's the one we got. That's my opinion, but we can't guarantee that, so we do need to ensure that we have that. But I also believe, as my grandfather said, you never count your chickens before they hatch. So we should not use fair share right now like there's no tomorrow and we don't have to be accountable for it. It was put there to lower the debt and burden on us, on our children and our grandchildren, and that is how it should be used, period, no exceptions.
I'm pretty new to this whole fair share idea, other than talking about it a few times on my radio program, but the way that I see fair share is that we do have to lead by example, and this money should be, I believe, spent on investments that are going to last for a significant amount of time. One of I believe the question was, what are we going to do as city council? We can talk about fair share all you want in terms of what it is and we think it is, but what our job as city council, this is what I see, is keeping it alive in every citizen's in Dawson Creek's mind so that the pressure will be there on our MLA. Now, will our MLA be the same person that's running in 2020? Probably not. We might be dealing with a whole new government, as the other candidates have stated. So what we really need to do is keep this in the forefront of your brain, to keep it active. Council needs to be talking about it, and we need to be planning all the time. I think that the money is there, and that we should be using it for infrastructure programs, especially stuff that's going to last for a significant amount of time. I like to see it for sewer system. I like to see it for highways, and I'd like to see it for bridges.
Fair share, yes, it is an agreement that was put together through the municipalities in the Northeast region and presented to the government, and they are presently working right now on the fair share agreement renewal for 2020. So that is happening. They're working hard at it. Every community in the North appreciates the value of it and the need for it. It was put in place because of the impacts on the infrastructure in the Northeast. And that is where the money goes. Yes, you see it in the operational plan, but that operational plan covers everything that goes on with the city. And it is being used wisely. And the debt, we do have a debt management plan that we feel very responsible for. And every decision that is made by the present city council and past councils has not been made in a lark. It's been through a lot of
I'm new with the fair share funding, but I feel very strongly that we here in Dawson Creek, we have to rally together to defend our share of it. Don't you think? Don't you think we have to defend our share of it with Fort St. John, Chetwynd, and the surrounding areas? I believe in this city. I believe in the citizens of this city. If we can rally together and tell the government, whether it be, I lost my thought, but however, whether it's the federal government, the provincial government, the local government, we have to rally. We are the people. People first. Never mind the rest. We are the taxpayer of this city, and we have to fight for our share. That's how I think. And we have to have more of it too.
Fair share is a great idea, but we really have no bargaining power to demand fair share.
Wrong. Yeah.
I disagree. We can't close the multiplex. We can't close the Calvin Crook Center. Those are.
What is that going to do with fair? What's that got to do with fair?
Are you going to tell the provincial government that if you don't give us fair share money, we're going to close? We're going to quit selling stuff to the
Shut the city down?
Yeah, we can't. We don't have much bargaining power. We can change who we vote for, but we need to eliminate our reliance upon fair share.
That's why we have to ask for more. We cannot close. I'm sorry. We cannot close.
I'll talk now. Thank you. Back to the question, what is our role as a councillor? We have to do a collective approach with the Peace River Regional District. It was the Peace River Regional District actually who had the original idea of fair share. It wasn't the city. That's a fact. Again, collective affair, assertive, aggressive. We have good reasons to ask for it again.
Now, as I understand, I think that fair share was an agreement so that the city doesn't expand its borders, so that we don't collect the property or the taxes on the oil and gas activity that's going around the region, and that's what's going to dictate our bargaining power for fair share. It's that's it.
No. You haven't got one?
Okay. Yeah, that's what's going to dictate our bargaining power. It's the only thing that we could do, I suppose, is welcome more oil and gas activity. But it's that's the only thing. I'm not saying I'm in support of that, but I'm saying that's the only thing that we could do to bargain for more fair share power, I think.
City Council has a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that the money is spent properly. And City Council needs to know exactly where those dollars are going. I have been looking into the reports, and as far as I can see, it goes into general revenue, and it's without any type of restrictions on it, which was dictated by the province. But we as a city need to know where that money is going, and the fair share is something that is a gift to Dawson Creek as well as the other communities around, and that gift is going to run out one day. And so we need to make sure we put it to the places, the infrastructure that is required for our city to grow and to be able to handle the growth that is coming here.
What was the question again, Bob?
It's about fair share and what we can do to renegotiate the
the negotiate, that's already happening through the regional district and the various municipalities. But one of the things that's really important in these negotiations is that right now, fair share is just a memorandum of understanding. And that can be written up just at the stroke of, or stop at the stroke of a pen. So what we're really going to work hard for is to get it enshrined in legislation. Now that doesn't mean that they can't kill it. It's a lot. It would be much more work, and it would be political suicide if it were in legislation for them to go back and try to repeal that law. So that's one of the things that we're trying to do is get it into legislation, and just there's more power than just a memorandum of understanding.
So every year we spend millions of dollars on infrastructure. We also spend millions of dollars on repayment of debt that we borrowed for infrastructure. I would like to argue that we spend our fair share on those things. So in essence, we are spending the fair share on our infrastructure, on our facilities that we need to build, and we're doing it in a responsible way. We have, some of it does go to operations, but it is our job to make sure that we're going to the government and demanding that this, as long as we have industry in our area, we have fair share, and that's our job. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. I think we have time for one more very fast question. So who wants the last question? Right in the back? Okay.
Hi. First of all, congratulations to everyone up there. You're all very brave. And my question is about healthcare. Big umbrella. So seniors who are the pioneers of this community, they're very much suffering. They have huge needs in this community that are not being met. We have an overburdened and understaffed hospital, and we have doctors, nurses, and carers that are getting burned out. So, huge question, but what are some of the things you do to address these issues?
Okay, so who wants to tackle that question? I guess okay, we'll start the other end for Jane. That's a good idea.
Seems fair.
So, City Council's job with regards to this issue is to advocate to higher levels of government. It is not City Council's job to provide health care or nursing homes or any of those type of things. It's the province and the feds that provide those services. So our job is to make sure that when we're in the proximity of a minister from the province or from the federal government, that we advocate to them and say, you know, our community needs more. That's what City Council's job is. And I have to tell you, when I'm around those kind of people, because I work in long-term care with seniors, I think you do also, and it's important stuff. And so I make sure whenever I get the opportunity that I speak about the needs that we have in Dawson Creek. Thanks.
I think the same thing as I mentioned to Linda. Come into council as a delegation, plead your case, and certainly we can advocate for you. I would also, letters to the minister, letters to the MLA, letters to the editor, please to the editor. That way there'd be less folks writing letters complaining about me, and it would go to a much worthy cause. I agree with you, and what I don't understand, I'm a senior, and when I was a kid growing up, there was a shortage of schools. Did nobody figure out that there was going to be a need for schools? And then you go on, and suddenly there's a need for housing for young families. Did nobody figure that out? Now here I am, 66, and suddenly there's no support for seniors. What happened over the last 50 years? It's a conspiracy. And actually, I don't mean to make light of your question. That wasn't what I meant. But letters, and on that phone calls.
I do agree with Terry.
I turned it off. Sorry.
Thanks. I do agree with Terry. We need to push this issue a little bit. Be isn't aggressive again, make our points, and provide some living quality, maintain our living quality for doctors and young doctors to start here in the peace countries.
The young ones are not senior yet, so no comment from them. But however, number 9 in the question, it says, what is your position in senior housing? And this is my response. My position on senior housing are that there will be a demand for this type of housing, as we are all aware. The baby boomers. Who are the baby boomers? Raise your hand, please. Raise your hand, baby boomers. Right? Are aging. I'm 65 and a half. I have to put that in a half there, because I like to be that. However, they need to be heard and seen. I also believe there's a lot of them selling their houses. And I know few of them already because I'm on the street all the time. And trying to move to more compact and affordable housing, which we don't have. Like I said, oh boy, here we go again. The citizen, I have to say this from the bottom of my heart. The citizen paved the way. Paved the way. Take it away, citizen.
I said he's coming to get
Thank you, sir.
The question was
healthcare in general.
Healthcare in general.
On seniors, but also on the burnout of the doctors and the nurses and the carers. Yeah, it's a huge issue.
It's a huge issue, and it's right across Canada, and Alberta. Alberta's part of Canada. But this is all we're always hearing this when we meet with other communities. We hear it at the UBCM, we hear it at the FCM on the health issues, and we hear daily what's going on with Northern Health. That services are being cut, our doctors are overworked. And it is an ongoing issue, and we do have to advocate. We have to keep down the pavement, talk to our MLAs, talk to our MPs. But everybody in this room is responsible, to write letters to your MLA and write letters to your MPs.
You should get some cordless mics with that fair share money. In terms of healthcare, we absolutely can do a lot of it ourselves. Everybody in here knows somebody who knows a doctor. Everybody in here knows someone who's a nurse, probably. If you've had experience with them, you've got family members that have done that. Tell them what an attractive place Dawson Creek is to live. Get them to come and live here. You can make that a part of it. Tell them we have a wonderful Encana Event Center. We've got a fantastic art gallery. We've got a really talented community of poets and singers and songwriters. We've got some fantastic sports teams. We're like the awesomest place to live in the Peace Country. That's one of the things that we can do as a city council that's within our scope, is to advocate for our city, to make sure that everybody knows that we are a destination that you want to live at. You don't want to just pass through. This is a place you want to stay. Because we have a physician in our family, and that's one of the things that they look for. They're a business person like anybody else. They want a place that their family's going to feel comfortable in, and they want the amenities as well. So we can also do that ourselves here as citizens by emailing young doctors.
He said email young doctors. I'm going to tell you, my grandmother, Helen O'Neill, started the first rural home care service in BC. It was in a little community called Hickson, and I was the youngest home care worker at 17. So I understand what the need is. I also understand that the city of Prince George really connected with their college at that time and pushed for their nursing courses, for their home care courses. They reached out to the province and said, hey, you know, there's a waiting list in your community, there's not one in ours. So I really think the city can build that bridge with our college and our senior secondary school. Reach out. We have dual credit programs for many things. Do we have one for home care support or an LPN course? That's maybe something to advocate for as well. So it's the people speaking up and standing up, but I also think it's a matter of not also looking at all the big issues that council has, but advocating with our educational system that we have local and putting that out there to our province.
I think healthcare is definitely something that is going to need to be looked at. I mean, we're a growing community. The best thing that we could do as counselors would be to try and make sure we're at some of these colleges or universities that are having graduating classes. Are we there advocating for ourselves? Are we selling the points that we put money into to make our community a better place, better than anything else? Do they know this? Do they know the benefits of coming to live up here? Do they know how friendly we are? If they don't, why have we not, as council members, been down there selling ourselves to them? If we haven't, we have not done everything we can to get more doctors and nurses up here. I believe working with the Northern Lights College and having dual credit programs would be a wonderful idea. If it's not already out there, it should be. But there's colleges and universities that are graduating nurses and doctors every day. If we don't have a delegation down there, we're selling ourselves short. And we need to work with Northern Health to make sure that we are represented properly, that the doctors and the nurses do know, so that we don't have the
Can I just throw one quick comment in? Part of the problem, the biggest problem, is Northern Health. It's not the lack of nurses. There's nurses in town here that have been trained, LPNs have been trained, and they're not being hired at the hospital. They're having to work in the care homes because the hospital won't hire them.
It sounds like some letters need to be written.
Northern Health, yes, and that's one thing. I would like letters of support from anyone in the community that has had a horrendous experience with a loved one in the hospital or at home or out home care or whatever. Call me, get them to me. I need to compile them to carry on.
Doug is next.
Sorry, Doug.
I'm on a totally different page than everybody else. You have to drive me kicking and screaming to the hospital. Every time I go to the hospital, I go in feeling not too bad. I come out with a cold or the flu. So, I don't know about this healthcare bit. You overdo it a little bit. I would prefer, actually, to see more home care.
Yes.
In our family, I'm the housekeeper. So if I could weasel out of that, then I'll go for any health care plan you come up with. Okay? That's all I have to say. But hospitals are terrible places. All kinds of sick people there and everything.
I'd like to recognize that we do have a brand new walk-in clinic going to be opening up in Co-op. I think that is absolutely amazing. We've needed that service for quite a long time, so I'm happy to see that that's going in. And I'd like to thank the gentlemen who are involved in putting that together. The social plan. If nobody's read the social plan, it's on the website. You should read it. It is an amazing document, and I really support it. I would like to see Dawson Creek follow through on it. It does speak a little bit about affordable housing and taking care of its citizens, all of them regardless of age and ability. It is the council's duty to advocate and build partnerships. So whatever it is that the city can do on behalf of healthcare, home support, if it's writing letters, that's what we should do.
Okay, well, my apologies that there is one more question I have to ask because it was a mailing question and I was remiss in not asking it earlier. So my apologies to everybody who had a question. I'm going to butt in and ask this one. Okay, this one has to do with the airport. And will you support the upgrades required to the airport to allow the airport to be a source of growth and potential for our city, meaning the possible extension of runways to allow larger aircraft to land, or do you prefer people continuing travel to Grand Prairie Airport St. John to catch flights? So we'll open this up to all of the candidates. So would you support upgrades to the airport? Do you guys want to start at that end again?
Yes.
We'll start over here.
Yeah, so the city has embarked on a sustainability plan for the airport. That means that we are interested in looking what can be done to make the airport better, so that we get better service, so that it works better for industry, so that it just is better overall. Maybe it's going to be little things that we can do at first. Maybe then we can do some bigger things later. But the city is definitely, or Cheryl Schumann is definitely in favor of upgrading the airport.
I don't know because I haven't seen the report that should be out any day actually, but we'll see what they say. I was very impressed with the folks that did the survey. They had 3 or 4 town hall meetings and there was a lot of people there. But I don't know what they're going to recommend, so until we see it, we'll have to wait and see. It's tired and I want to go home.
Yes, I am for the expansion of the airport. I would like to see the land that has been sold off, the tax dollars that is being used from that land be allocated to the expansion of the airport. We need a good, solid airport to be able to have better flights from here to Vancouver, here to Edmonton, and here to Calgary. I'm tired of going to Grand Prairie and flying out. I'm tired of going to Fort St. John and flying out. We need more flights, accessible. We've got 1 flight a day in and out of here, and it's not doing the trick.
I do think the airport's an important part of the community as well. I do think that we should support it. It is, we do need to look into exactly who's going where and how many people are going so we can attract the right type of airline. And I hope that we can do that pretty quickly.
There was a consultant report done recently, and yes, Terry is right by saying waiting and see what they recommend, because they have done good work, we heard. And so let's wait and see what happens, and we need to tackle this. And yes, we need to do something with our airport.
Yes, we need to do something.
I fly all over. 40 below, I tell you, I don't like it. I support the airport. And I know I attended several of these town hall meetings, and I know the city is planning something. And I know I will support it. Especially senior citizens. I don't know why I love senior citizens, maybe because I'm aging as well. When they go to Vancouver for medical reasons, they have to go to Grand Prairie, they have to go to Fort St. John. Why not here? Why not here? That's my point. We need support from you, citizens of this city. If we have to rally, we have to rally. I'll push chairs. Wheelchairs, that is. So I support it very, very profoundly because we need it. We really needed it in the future. Now in the future, again.
I'm looking forward to the report from the consultants and the outcomes. I do support, I would love to see more scheduled services in Dawson Creek. And I guess that, we'll see what happens with the report. But again, it all comes down to dollars and cents as well, and our overall budget. We are subsidizing the airport right now at a tremendous amount of money. And so we do have to look at these things and make sure that we can do it. And there's been great consultation being done with industry and with the community, and so we'll hear the outcomes there in a week or so.
I agree. We need to do something about the airport in Dawson Creek. I end up taking a yearly, well, more than that. I family come in flying to see shows and that kind of thing, and I end up being the one that drives all the way to Grand Prairie to pick them up in a blizzard. I'd love to be able to drive down to our airport and do that. I think that if you're going to use the airport, you should pay for the airport. That's one of my positions. I think that if industry is going to be using it to bring staff in for camps, or they're going to be using that kind of stuff, we should be looking to build more partnerships with them for them to help pick up some of the tab. I also am looking forward to seeing the report because, like I've heard around town too, there's some good work being done there. So maybe we'll get some fresh ideas there.
I am for the airport, and this sustainability study is going to tell you the same thing that the first one did. I know that because I was on the advisory committee for the airport that this current council diminished. It's going to tell you that we need to lengthen our airport runway. It's going to tell you that we need to invest some money to get numbers from airlines to find out how many people from Dawson Creek are flying out of Fort St. John and Grand Prairie. The company that did the sustainability study is a good one. They're going to come back with good answers. But we've done it. Why are we paying for it again? Lengthen the runway, get the numbers, let's get the flights in here and get the job done. Thank you.
So here we have an airport out there. I personally I have not had the luxury of flying out of it for any of the business things at all. So I do think that if we are going to subsidize it, we need to make sure that we're subsidizing something that we can all use. If we're not going to use it, then let's stop subsidizing it. If it's big companies that are going to be using it a lot to bring in their workers, to bring in their equipment, why are we not building partnerships with them to get them on board with this and to get things rolling that we need to? I mean, the length in the runway, if that's what they need to bring those planes in, how else are they getting their equipment here? It can't be any cheaper to truck it than it would be to fly it. It's only an extra 15 minutes, half an hour from GP to here. So let's start looking at having these businesses. Let's work with them. If we are going to subsidize this, let's make it for our own benefit.
I just want to add that our airport actually does bring in revenue. It sells fuel. Our airport brings in money. It's not subsidized 100%.
I'd like to speak to the platinum blondes in the crowd again. If you recall, back in the 1970s, you all remember Doc Keane? Doc Keane and I each owned DC-3 airplanes. We flew out of this airport every day. At that same time, there were 737s landing every day and taking off. The problem with our airport is there wasn't enough TLC. There's nothing wrong with the airport. The maintenance is the problem. So all we have to do, straighten up, do our thing, get that thing running right, and we won't have a problem. The planes will come back. Thank you.
I actually do have to agree with Shaylee and with Doug. I actually viewed the video of one of the chamber meetings, and they talked about going from step 1 to step 3 and skipping stage 2 because they already had that report. I know that there used to be more flights out of Dawson Creek because I used to fly on them. So if the industry is interested in using our airport, then I support upgrades that need to be done to it, but I do believe that they should be sharing in the cost. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. That's the end of our question period. Now I'd like to invite the candidates up for their 1-minute closing remarks. So we'll start with Trina. Come on up.
We need to continue growing as a city. We are growing. with growing pains, but it needs to be continuously balanced with caring for our people. Looking backwards instead of forwards is counterproductive. Economic vitality of cities comes from the quality of people's lives, the strength of their civic engagement, the connection that they have with each other. Infrastructure is important. It is the bones of our community, but we must balance it with planning for a high quality of life for all our people. It takes leadership to bring people together and make great things happen. What makes cities great? People, just like you and I. Thank you.
The next candidate is Doug Reagan. Come on, Doug.
Here we go again. Okay. My take on the situation we have right now, I mentioned before, our debt keeps growing. You know, we're paying pretty near 40 cents on every dollar collected in taxes. We're paying pretty near 40 cents just to service it. That's nuts. You know, nobody can do that. So I would say that some of this fair share money that everybody's so proud we're getting, let's take a portion of that and earmark it and cut down on that debt that we owe. The credit card is getting full. We just can't keep spending money and spending money. I tried to pound that into my kids' head. Hey, just because there's $1 left on your credit card doesn't mean to say you're not broke. And that's exactly the way this city council, I shouldn't say the council, the whole administration acts like, well, we got lots of money, let's spend it. Well, yes, that's right. We need infrastructure.
Thanks, Doug. And now David McDonald.
I'd like to take this opportunity and thank you all for coming and listening to us first and foremost. Realistically, what my platform involves is being accountable to you, the people, making sure that we're not relying on money that could be taken away at a moment's notice, making sure that we're planning for the future and having our projects pay for themselves, not us pay for them continually. That's what all I got to say.
Shirley, you're next. Come on.
Doug and I are sharing the role of buzzing. I'm one of those girls that I will roll up my sleeves and I'll do the grunt work. Whatever has to be done, I'll do it. In 2008, when they told me we couldn't have gymnastics at the Winter Games, I said yes we can, and we did, and we represented Dawson Creek very well. That's the type of girl I am. I am accountable and I am transparent. Transparent is clear, it's not translucent. It's not foggy with letting only a little bit of light through. Transparent is transparent. I say what I mean what I say. If I'm wrong, I will apologize, but if I'm right, hold on, we're on for one hell of a ride. I believe that every person counts for something. They bring something to the table, and that is balance. Every single person in our community should be represented in council. I believe I can do that. I believe in getting the job done, and I believe doing it right the first time. So if that is something you want, then vote for Shaylee on November 19th.
Again, I want to echo Doug's sentiments there. It's an absolute pleasure to be here to speak to you tonight, and it would be an absolute pleasure to represent you as well as a city councillor. On the 19th, I hope that you do vote for me. I hope that I can help make Dawson Creek a better town than it is now. I love it the way it is. As the president of the Dawson Creek Kinsman Club, citizen of the year 2007, and a vast amount of experience talking, building bridges, negotiating, facilitating, I think I would be an asset to this city, and I'm hoping that you will think that too. Please vote for me on the 19th.
And now, Sue Kenny, your turn for your closing remarks.
Once again, thank you for coming out and bringing your valued questions to us. It's been a pleasure working on City Council for the last 3 years. It's been hard work, a lot of hard decisions. There's a lot of good input here tonight, and a lot of great ideas. And man, if it was that easy, it'd be awesome. But anyway, I really hope that we get a good turnout, and that everybody exercises their right to vote, and make sure that you get the right people in there. And I hope one of those people will be me. Thank you.
Lynn Duinfield, your turn. 1 minute.
We talk about infrastructure, accountability, everything that we heard here. But behind all that things are people. People that works, pay taxes. What are we going to do about it, people? I love people. My strongest attribute is people. I'm concerned since I was 15. I've seen it all. But one thing that saddens me sometimes is our own accountability. We have God-given right to vote. We have to use it. And we have to choose wisely. Because we are a growing city. This is the city that will take us far beyond that you can possibly imagine. Because in the eyes of the world, we are a great city. However, vote for me. We'll see what we can do. That's what it's all about.
Trevor Albert, come on down.
I don't know most of you here, but I would really appreciate your vote. I'm willing to get together for coffee with anyone, if you like. And yeah, thank you for talking to me and everyone else here.
Come on down.
You all have my pamphlet now. Please take your time and read through it. Citizens first, business friendly, fair and balanced decisions. I explained this to you. It's further explained in my pamphlet. Now I would like to do something very different here. I would like to quote Jack Layton, who died recently. I will quote him not as the leader of the NDP, but I will quote him as a human being facing a terminal illness. His message to us all was, love is better than anger. Hope is better than fear. Optimism is better than despair. So let us all be loving, hopeful, and optimistic, and we can change the world. Thank you for your attention.
Duncan Hawkinson, you're next.
Thank you very much. I look forward to learning and working with all of you. I'm ready to work hard for all of you, and thanks very much. I also want to impress on everyone here to not be afraid to contact me if you know anyone that needs a ride on election day, because I will be, well, I've got a few volunteers that are willing to do that, so don't be afraid to contact me. Thanks.
James Bridges, you're next. Closing remarks.
Thank you again for everyone that came out tonight. That's been very engaging. You have got my flyer on somewhere there, and it tells what I'll be working towards: transparency, balance, social sustainability, economic sustainability, and integrity. On November 15th, I would like to have your vote. And I appreciate 19? Well, November 19th, I would like to have your vote. See, I got your attention. And I will represent you as best I can, to the best of my ability, on City Council if you give me your go-ahead.
Down the side, you're next. Come on down. That's a long one.
Well, thank you for coming out, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a very interesting evening, and as I said, I'd Been there for 3 years. I'd love to do 3 more, and I'll be looking forward to your support on the 19th of November.
Thank you all for coming out tonight and hearing all of our speeches. So a vote for Cheryl Schumann is a vote for reasonable, responsible 21st century leadership. I'm committed to moving Dawson Creek forward in a progressive, positive way, and I'll work to ensure that we have a healthy, resilient community for all of our citizens into the future. I will listen to the needs of the citizens and make balanced and informed decisions that take into consideration what is best for the whole community. I will work hard with the next council to achieve our set goals, and I hope that on November 19th, we will choose Schumann for our City Council. Thank you.
Thank you very much to all the candidates. Charlie Parslow sent us a note this evening, so Charlie apologized for not being here tonight. He's in the UK dealing with a family emergency, so he would have been here tonight if it hadn't been for that. Now I'd like to welcome Camille to come up and say a few words.
I'll tell you, it's really nice to see all of you people here tonight and a lot of new faces in the business community. My name is Camille. I'm the chair for the Dawson Creek and District Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to thank you. I hope you're not timing me, are you? I'd like to thank you, Bea, for coming from Toastmasters. That's great. That's a great organization. As well, Bob Hogan, for doing such a great job of moderating. You did a good job. Great thank you to Best Western for allowing the use of this room tonight. And they didn't provide us with a microphone that was portable, but we're forgiving them because they're great people and we love to come here for our luncheons. So thank you very much, Best Western. Finally, thank you to all of the candidates. You all have to be commended for stepping up to the plate and making Dawson Creek, or trying to make Dawson Creek, a better community. I appreciate the work that you're going to have to do. I appreciate that you stepped up to the plate to put your name forward. Make sure that everybody in this room gets your friends, gathers your family, get out and vote. It seems like our voting numbers are down. I don't know why. But it's very, very important. I see a lot of regular faces in the community here that come and they do have a say, but I see some new ones, which is really great. And to you young guys out there, wow, it's good on you. It's great to see some nice young gentlemen, junior chamber members, hopefully. Yes. We all care about this community deeply. There's a lot of pros and cons, but we deeply all care about Dawson Creek. I know I certainly do. I was raised here, and I see things that are happening in our grocery stores, in every business in this community. It's amazing. I can walk into a grocery store and not see any food on the shelves. You have to know how busy we are. It's going to be a lot of growing pains in the next 10 or 15 years. I thank all the business community for stepping up to the plate too and trying to deal with not being able to staff enough people. It's very difficult. If anybody is interested, just finally saying, it's tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, the All Candidates Forum for Pouce-Coupe Area D and E. Directors for Regional District, that will be at the Pouce-Coupe Community Hall. And thank you and good night. Also, I would like to say we're having a luncheon. Oh no, we're going to have a breakfast meeting, November 24th, 8:30 to 10:30. It's BC Hydro, the Dawson Creek Chamber, and the BC Chamber, Jonathan Winters, for a session on Site C. So if you're interested, come. There's no charge. We welcome you. Thanks again on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce. Good night.
We're still doing the school trustees, yeah. Janelle just wanted to talk about that. Okay, so now we'd ask that the school trustees come forward and take their places at the table. So, yeah, I know, everybody's staying. So for the 3 school trustees, there are 2 positions available, and we have 3 candidates. So they'll each be given 2 minutes each of opening remarks, followed by questions, and then 1 minute of closing remarks.
Hello. Is nobody interested in education? There's 3 people here who would like to talk about our education system. And I know it hasn't had a lot of publicity in the newspapers, but education is very important. It's our children, it's your grandchildren.
Please everyone just stick around. It's not going to be great. Okay, so I'd like to first ask Tamara.
Hold on. Wait a minute, we're waiting for change. We didn't have all of us. Well, I guess. You guys are the worst.
Go there, right? It's not even my Let's actually make it.
One more.
Try to get mad at that.
Okay, now that the photo op has been taken care of, let's everybody take their places and let's get our school trustees.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so again, please help me welcome Tamara Leimer.
Thank you all for sticking around. I will be quick. My name is Tamara Zimmer, for those of you who don't know me. I'm a mother of 2 school-aged children. I've served as a trustee for the last year and a half. I won the by-election last March. I am here today because I love doing this job, and I'm passionate about what I do. Since becoming a trustee, I've been elected to the Northern Interior Branch's executive. I serve as the communications director for the Northern Interior, and I'm the chair of our local policy committee. Sorry, I should join Toastmasters, I think. I don't have a personal agenda. It's my goal to form opinions on issues that are based on the collective opinion of my constituents. I intend to represent the best interests of our community. I believe every child has needs. There are terms used to put kids into different categories, but the education system today needs to create a strong and equitable society. It's my job as a trustee to make sure that all students are represented. Every child is entitled to a quality education. I understand the significance and importance of education. Our system today influences what tomorrow's society will be like. We need to create a caring and sustainable society. Citizens who are involved in an economy that can support that. We need to create a learning circumstance where kids are able to ask those important questions and we are able to help them find the answers. We have to do business differently. I believe that I bring a perspective to the table that includes first-hand experience. I have young kids just starting in the school system, and it is my generation that has young children starting in the schools. I believe this allows me to bring a current perspective to the board table that enriches the discussion and decisions made. I graduated at South Peace Secondary School, and I am really excited about the opportunity to represent this community as a school trustee. Thank you.
Now it's my pleasure to welcome Richard Powell to the lectures.
Good evening. It's interesting looking out here and seeing a number of folks that were parents or people that I've taught. And the last group I met in this situation was Assembly at Central School of 700 14, 15, and 16-year-olds. Much quieter crowd. So good evening. I'm Richard Dick Powell. I use both names on the ballot because some folks know me as Dick, but my official name is Richard. I am seeking my third term as school trustee and representing Dawson Creek. I do not represent any particular group. My main interest is students. My partnership is students. As a resident of Dawson Creek since 1973, I've served as a teacher, a school principal for over 30 years, and a trustee for 6 years. This experience as an educator and the incumbent trustee enables me to bring a lot of knowledge and experience to the Board of Education. As well as being a school trustee over the years, I've been involved in a number of other committee organizations, including the Northern Lights College Board, director for several winter games societies, and a variety of other directorships. As a trustee, I believe there are foundational responsibilities. I believe in students first, all students. I believe in being fiscally responsible. I believe that there needs to be meaningful monitoring of the organization to stay on the tracks. As an organization, we do have challenges. We have over 1,000 students over the last 5 years have left Dawson Creek. So we've had a declining population. We have a new model called co-governance model, or partnership with the Ministry of Education. That brings us different interests. Finances, of course, we could always use more money. During my time as a school board chair, the board has undertaken several initiatives. We undertook a restructuring and reorganization of schools and maintenance facilities. We enhanced public awareness by meeting and presenting to a variety of community groups about what's going on in the school district. But the most meaningful thing that we've undertaken is educating for the 21st century. I'm excited about the opportunities to support school cultures where the learning brings real-world challenges into the classroom. We have many dedicated teachers already striving to make this happen. All being said, however, it is critical to stress that we will always have a commitment to teaching reading, writing, and numeracy. To this end, I am dedicating to providing the best education system we can, one that fully engages every and all students. My number one focus is that all students receive a meaningful, quality education. Thank you.
Now, my pleasure to invite Trina and Fadek back to the lecture. You're making this trip a lot tonight.
Since the light bulbs are no longer working, I only had my speech down to 2 minutes, so I'll be shorter. There is a voice missing from our current trustee composition. Just to let you know, I am a parent of 7 children. I have one that was not identified as having a learning disability until grade 12. I have a daughter now who's in grade 5 who is identified as having autism spectrum disorder. Meaningful consultation. This school district received approximately $5 million in special needs funding last year. How did the district spend it? What are the success rates? No one is talking about it. Hardly anyone is talking about education. No parent suspects that one day their child would have a special needs. And a special needs does not mean the child has to be born with one. It could be it could just be because of an accident. It could be because they can't read. Special needs could also be English second language. It's a very large umbrella. So when a parent doesn't suspect that one day their child is going to have special needs, they go through months of paperwork, specialists, consultations, and then a diagnosis is given. And from that day forward, that family's life has changed forever. Parents believe that a school with a special education policy would know their responsibilities. This is not always the case. Families at any time can and have experienced an educator that does not provide meaningful consultation and develops an inadequate IEP. This story has happened several times. I suggest that we have a special education council that consults with parents and community, establishes tribunals, and requires fiscal transparency. The only province in Canada who does it right now is Ontario. Inadequate teaching contributes to dropout rates, low test scores, and a dislike for school. The dismissal process is so erroneous. The risk of reprisal from the teachers' union is so intimidating that most boards find it's not worth the effort. Our children, not worth the effort? Are you concerned? Because I am. November 20th is International Day of the Child. Please vote for the children. Thank you.
Okay, now it's our question period time. So does anyone have questions for any of our candidates? You can start.
Do you support the school board's current practice of opening meetings with a Christian prayer?
Okay, so
I anticipated this question.
I can repeat it. Do you support the school board's current practice of opening meetings with a Christian prayer?
I actually do. I agree with it, personally. I don't think that the way we do it is so much about praying to God. I think that what we're doing is coming together as a group to focus on the fact that we are making all of our decisions in the best needs of the children. And that is basically what the prayer is that we would all just make sure that we are focusing on the best needs of our children in all the decisions that we make at the meeting. So I support that idea, and I do support the prayer as well.
Likewise, I do also support having the prayer to open the meeting. I believe it is a tradition in the community that we live in. I think it's important that we recognize where we come from and where we live, and I strongly support having the prayer to open our meetings.
I will be this one that says, no, I do not support it in a publicly funded, non-sectarian boardroom. We are there being paid with public money to govern the best education for all children. We represent a population of 12,000 plus strong. We currently have a population of approximately 3,900 students. There is no way that we should be bringing in our traditions and our beliefs into a publicly funded boardroom.
Wrong.
Thanks goes to Trustee Campen and Trustee Berenger for putting their foot down and actually putting into practice policies 4588 and 4589, which said that we should not be distributing political or religious materials through our public schools. It should be up to the families. It's our choice what we want to teach our children, not the public education system.
Hear, hear.
So that's my stance. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, yep, okay.
I have a question of Trina. I worked for 27 years in support of kids with special needs in the school district, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were saying that the IEPs are inadequate. Every IEP meeting that I sat at had the professionals and the parents signed off on every IEP, so they were well aware and could add, or it was a team that created that IEP. And so I just want clarification because you're making it sound like the parents are not getting what they think they're supposed to get.
Yeah, now this question will be available for all to answer as well.
Yeah, no, here's next. Who?
What I said in my speech, Sharon, was that this is not always the case, and families have at any time experienced an educator that does not provide an adequate IEP. I did not say all of them were inadequate. I have been to meetings where I have had the privilege of working with some amazing educators. I have unfortunately also experienced educators. I cannot say the same. That's what I'm saying. And there are many parents who go to these IEP meetings who do not understand the process. And I think it is the responsibility of any of the trustees who are supposed to represent all children to offer courses, education, advocate, and support to help the parents understand their role, to empower the parents to ask for the best IEP, for the best education for their child. I hope that answers your question.
So the next person.
I mean, it is signed off. It isn't just decided by a group of educators. The parents are there involved.
Do they understand?
They ask questions, and
do they understand
are specifically
what services are out there for their children? Like, do they come prepared? I don't believe all parents are coming prepared.
That's the parents' responsibility, not the board's responsibility.
So let's try and give someone else the opportunity to answer. So, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. One next.
I have a question.
Okay, I think Terry's next. He's been waving his arm, and I've been ignoring him. He's talked quite a bit already, but I'll let him ask this question.
Can I say one?
Sure.
Just one example, one life example, please? A life example. My daughter last year had an IEP. I requested a meeting in October. We went to that meeting. I wasn't invited like the administrators should do. We went through that meeting. We never received a copy of the IEP until December. That IEP had been dated September. It had already been in place, and it was not adequate. I had not signed off on it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Terry, you had a question?
The question about the mill rate, Richard, that's locally or that's provincial government?
It's set locally.
And that's true for
every district
in the province. So it could all be different.
He was asking about the mill rate, and whether it was set locally or provincially. It is set locally.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have.
Oh, yes, sir. Go ahead.
Where do you stand in bullying?
Bullying.
It exists. Bullying.
I don't think anyone agrees that bullying is right, and I think that over a period of time now that there's been lots of conversation about bullying, and I think the kind of information that comes out in schools now that is presented to students and to parents about bullying is very informative. I know that as a board that we take bullying very seriously, and that we've implemented policy that goes directly to schools on how to deal with situations. You always will have incidents that occur, but I know that now that they're taken so much more seriously than when I was a student in school, and that it's devastating to those that are bullying, and we cannot allow it. So I strongly support anything that is anti-bullying.
Any other candidates that we haven't covered?
Well, I know in the classroom there's lots of programs done from the elementary level right up through. My daughter's in grade 4 this year, and every year since grade 1 she has done a unit on bullying, but not just a unit. They talk about it all year long, and it's a common theme through in the classrooms. It's part of their classroom environment that they all understand that bullying exists and that it's wrong, and they watch out for each other a lot more than when I was in school. So I think that what we have implemented is working, not perfectly, of course, but kids are kind of mean, so we're doing our best.
Well, we all know bullying's wrong. I need to say that yes, it is being taught in our classrooms, but it is not being transferred outside the structure of the classroom. You can see it at recess, you can see it at lunchtime, and you can see it on field trips. You can see it in the community. So I'm not quite sure what else we can do to help take away the bullying, but it's not transferring outside the classroom. It still exists. Thank you.
Any other questions? Back row?
I'd like to ask about financial literacy.
I don't believe that our kids are being properly prepared to go into the world and know the mortgages, know how to handle debt, credit. I know as just board trustees, you don't set the curriculum, but I know within the schools they do have some choices about some of the extra stuff that they're adding. I'd like to know what you are willing and able to do to support teaching our kids the financial skills that they're going to need in their lives, no matter what career choice they make.
So financial literacy.
Well, personally, as a trustee, I support teaching financial literacy at school. I wish I would have learned it. Would have helped me out quite a bit. I recently read an article from the Delta School District, which I believe is in the States, actually. Oh, it's Vancouver. I sent it to all the board members, and what happened was the community, remember, it was a financial business that made, I think it was a community contest, and they ended up coming into the school and teaching, doing full day, or 6 workshops through the day, teaching kids about financial literacy. It's a great example of the 21st Century Learning Initiative, bringing the community into the schools to help teach the children about these things that their teachers don't focus on, with the regular subjects. So I definitely in support.
Just an interesting point, you talked about curriculum. Curriculum is developed by the ministry, and we have to implement the curriculum that the ministry sends to us, and that's when we were talking about co-governance, with the ministry being directly involved now with school districts. School districts do not have the autonomy they had in the past, so we are co-governed. However, there are opportunities within the system to allow teachers to teach a variety of different things. And I do ask myself this question: are we really preparing students to graduate into the 21st century? And I think of things like, when was the last time any of you used a dial phone? Or used or know where a payphone is? Right? When is the last time we've ever written a letter? So what are we preparing students for? And so we need to look at what we can do to help prepare them to go out into the world in the 21st century. If it is financial, or is it life skills? Is it how to get a mortgage? It's all kinds of those things. And I've just bought my second house in 40 some odd years. What an experience. So I could have used some financial help learning how to purchase that house as well. So, but those kind of things that students need to know. I agree.
It's all part and parcel of life skills, and it should be taught. However, it is better learned by doing. So as part of 21st century learning, I hope that they will expand so that the children actually go out and get to experience the hands-on of it, and then it's not just with a calculator at a desk. Thanks.
Okay, so there's one question down at the front here. Someone had a question?
Way in the back.
Is that the Okay, go ahead. This will be the last question. Then we'll go to closing remarks.
As a mother of 5, I've had 5 students go through the school system in Dawson Creek. So Richard Powell has had the pleasure or not pleasure of being teacher, principal, and school board trustee for my children. And I've also dealt with other school districts, and I want to say that kudos on the school board trustees that we've had, because as a mother of a special needs student, we have one of the best programs. You want to talk about financial learning? My son, who is special needs, can bank better and shop better than any of his siblings, because part of his IE program is going out in the community, taking the bus, shopping with the flyers, and doing banking. So kudos on our schools for doing that, and kudos on our school boards for backing them. And I think you guys are on the right track. I think you've done a good job.
Okay, so shall we go to closing remarks? So we first ask Tamara.
Well, in closing, as I said, I am passionate about public education and invested in the system as a parent. My youngest starts school in September, so I have at least another 12 years in the system ahead of me. I'm committed to supporting initiatives that will increase student achievement for all students. I promise to keep an open mind, to act impartially when making decisions at the board table, and to perform my duties with honesty and integrity. Thank you.
Thank you for staying. I appreciate it because as important as the first meeting, I think education is important and important to our children. So I appreciate you all staying to hear us. I would like your support in enabling me to continue to ensure that our district has the best education system possible. And that's what the board tries to do. It tries to establish the best system we have with what we have to work with. My experiences as an educator and as the incumbent trustee enables me to bring a wealth of knowledge and experience to the board. When I think about what I think about is I believe we need to change how we do business. The way education is carried out. We need to look at how do we address educating the citizens of the 21st century. A concept I envision that in all our schools will be that they have teachers that are actively engaging them in their learning and are enthusiastic about their learning. To this end, I am dedicated to providing the best education system we can, one that fully engages every student. My number one focus, again, is that all students receive a meaningful and quality education. I'm committed, I'm dedicated, I got time, I'm retired, I have experience, I have leadership. Thank you. Please vote on November 19th.
Now I'd ask Kenneth to come up and have your closing remarks. Take it away.
Well, I guess I'm glad the camera is here because I may be speaking on behalf of parents who are not here. But my voice is speaking for those parents, the ones who have unfortunately experienced, who've had negative experiences in our education system, and it does exist in our district. We're not the only district. It's all over Canada, just to make that clear. And I really have formed wonderful relationships with excellent educators, but I truly have experienced not being able to work with some educators because they do not provide meaningful consultation, and we do have them in our district also. So, camera, when you do not feel acknowledged and when you feel dismissed, I will be there for you because no trustee was there for me. When you're pacing the floors at night and for all those sleepless nights in your home, I will believe you when you are having a problem with your educator or the classroom. When you feel like your voice is silent, I will help you to have a voice. When your child is struggling to read and no one is noticing, when it feels like no one believes that your child has potential, I will be there for you. And yes, that has happened. When it's easier to invoke Ministerial Order 177, I believe it is, which is to ask parents to leave the property, instead of just honoring the policy 3440, when your child no longer wants to go to school, when your child just wants to belong and to be accepted for who they are, together we will advocate for your child, the child's rights to the best education, because that's what a trustee is supposed to do. Thank you.
So thanks to all the candidates for coming out tonight. Thanks to all the candidates for coming out tonight, all for Dawson Creek and School District 59 trustees. It's quite the job you take on there. So. I'm Tara, I'm the manager of the Chamber of Commerce here in town, so thanks all for coming out tonight, and my apologies for the miscommunication of the school district trustees. The intentions were for the trustees to be included in the earlier part of the evening. The schools is where the education begins for our future local business owners, and that is of course very important to the Chamber. So thank you all for staying and giving each of the candidates an opportunity to speak. Thank you all for coming out, and we're truly done now, so have a good night.
or not?